Welcome to the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Each episode will dive into the world of search engine optimization for cannabis dispensaries. We'll discuss the latest strategies and tactics to help your dispensary rank higher on search engines and attract more patients and customers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we explore how to maximize your online presence and stay ahead of the competition in the rapidly growing cannabis industry.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of High Rankings podcast. We are on episode 68. It is going to be our last episode of July. That's nuts because it will be, when this goes up, it will be the last episode in July when this goes up.
Okay, when it's live. Gotcha.
Yeah. We'll record another one, but it will go up in August. So we are, good Lord, almost done. 7 months of the year. It's crazy. So it's hot, it's humid, and that's life, really. I don't have anything new. We took some friends out on the boat, saw dolphins. I feel like I say that every week, though. It was amazing. What else did we do? Oh, we went to a Brazilian steakhouse on Saturday, which, I mean, for me, is like, why bother?
Which one?
Texas Day, Brazil.
Oh, yeah. So when we were at the magazine, I do remember that place because myself and Nick, whom we affectionately refer to as Bong Boy, showed up a little late. We got a little banged up and we went to the wrong steakhouse. Yeah, we went to, there's another steakhouse like 2 blocks away from the one in downtown Denver. And we went to that one instead of Texas Day, Brazil. Yeah, very fun night though. But anyway, that will always stick in my mind with me and Bong Boy at the holiday party, the magazine. Like,
you can't have a bad time with him though. You just can't. It's just, he's like a ray of sunshine. I just
that little knucklehead. He is fun to hang out with, that little goofball.
He's awesome. Yeah, so we went there, which obviously I don't eat meat, so that was good.
What'd you eat? Just a salad bar?
Yeah, which honestly is completely fine. You know, like I have 2 things that I absolutely love there. One is the lobster bisque, which is on the salad bar. And then the other is those little freaking cheesy bread ball things that I think every
those are good.
steakhouse does. They are like, I don't know if they put drugs in there or what they put in them, but they are like so good.
Microdose you?
I said to my husband, I go, why have you not learned to cook these yet? Because he can like almost cook anything. And he's like, I don't know. He said, you have to have tapioca though. I guess that's what gives them like the chewiness.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway. So we did that. And then Sunday we went out with friends on the boat and that was a good time. They're very easy to be around. So I like that. I think that's about it. What's new in your world?
I got back on the bike, of course. Got the bike back. It's always nice getting your bike back. Mountain bike. I do downhill for new listeners. And everything is fixed. It's clean. There's no weird noises. Doesn't feel weird. Suspension is nice and plush. It's just a great feeling bike. So that was good. Got that back. Went out to dinner Saturday night. Saturday during the day, Joe and his wife, myself and my girlfriend. You met Joe in Chicago.
I like Joe. He's good people.
Yeah, he's good people. So we went out to one restaurant nearby here, had a couple drinks, and then buzzed over to another restaurant, a seafood place called Papado. Obviously, the place isn't any, like it's good food for like here in Colorado, like the landlocked state, but it's not like Florida, of course. I got the grouper. I love grouper. It was good. Big portions too, which is nice. So that was good. And then we hung out and we were going to go to a ping pong bar. And then we were like, you know what? Like we're all old. So Joe's mom's community has a rec center. Really cool. And there's a nice ping pong table there. So we went back and played ping pong. And Joe, despite having alligator arms, is quite good at ping pong, little fucker. And as he says, I got smoked a couple times. So it was fun to play. We were there until, I don't know, 11 p.m. Maybe midnight, which is pretty late for us, of course. But that was fun. That was a lot of fun. So we hung out. So they don't get much time with adults, because they have 3 kids.
Right.
So they don't get much time with, as they say, they don't get adult time, which is a lot of fun. So that was cool. Sunday, did some work stuff, of course. And I didn't ask this last week because my package came this weekend. What'd you get on Prime Day?
Oh, what did I get on Prime Day? Let me open my Amazon app. I'm gonna tell you what I got because I got 2 pool floats for my pool because I had bought. They come in a pack of 2, so I had bought them, and then a friend of mine was over in the pool and smoking a cigar, and his ashed on my pool float, and that died that one. And then the other one I took to Georgia with me, and I think somewhere on the trip back, something might have snagged it or something. I mean, they weren't expensive, so I got pool floats. There was something for the boat, something to do with what do they call it? Like the rope that attaches to the anchor. Something had come off, so I bought 2 of those.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a watch band that I've been eyeing up for a while. Towel clips, like when you want to clip your beach towel to your chair.
Okay.
Those. And really, that was it. I don't think the deals were that good. I just don't think they were that good. And also, I think that Amazon was shady because they were like, people were taking before and after pictures of pricing of things, and something would be like $59.99. And then the next day it would be the same price, but they put Amazon Prime Day deal on it as if like it hadn't been the same price the day before. But there really wasn't an awful lot that I wanted. So I wasn't going to buy stuff just to buy it. You know what I mean? So what did you get?
Right. I didn't really need a whole lot this year. I was thinking like a TV or like a Keurig or an air fryer. I say this because
I bought you your air fryer and I bought you your Keurig.
Yeah, like you literally bought me both of those. So
And I feel like I've bought you another appliance.
a TV? Oh, no.
No, I bought you something else.
Maybe a blender.
I definitely bought you your Keurig and your air fryer though. 100%.
Yeah, the air fryer's banging. It was funny during dinner. Joe's wife goes, "Charlie, do you cook? Do you even cook?" So I have an air fryer, Kylan. I have an air fryer. Okay, so yes, I make chicken and rice. And she's like, "Oh, cool." Joe starts laughing. But yes, I cook. Anyways,
and pancakes. You can make pancakes.
I make banging pancakes. So yeah, I thought, and then I looked at like a black. That was like not a whiteboard, but like a blackboard, like a black glass thing. Like you
Oh
put on the
yeah,
wall.
yeah.
Like I've always thought those are like kind of cool. You know, use like pink and green and yellow markers on there. Then I was looking at, I don't really need that. So I was looking at a different TV and like I didn't see any that I really liked. So what did I get? I got a vacuum cleaner and I got towels.
See, I had just bought towels the week before. Target was having their big like summer sale. So I had bought towels like the week before in the Target sale. I bought a few things in the Target sale. So I think that was also why I didn't,
Yeah, Target did it right. Get that the people before the big day. But I also read somewhere that, or I think I saw it on MSNBC, that it was the biggest Prime Day ever. Which like that's stupid amount of sales.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly didn't. I think it's really easy to get caught up into the like, oh, I have to buy something, it's a sale. But really, like, do you?
Yeah, I didn't really.
And honestly, like the things that I needed or wanted were at Target. So those were the things like I got towels, I got a blanket for the bed. I got a couple of other things in the Target sale. In the Target, because Target steals my money.
Yeah, that was it. It's towels and vacuum cleaner. Vacuum cleaner is pretty badass, though, I will say.
Yeah, now you know why I like to vacuum so much.
Yeah, it's kind of relaxing. Not gonna lie.
Well, I vacuumed my whole house this morning and mopped it already.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I'm doing laundry as we speak. So I like cleaning. So
relaxing.
in other news, our trip is booked and planned now.
Oh yeah, it's middle of September. It's like second week of September, maybe.
Yeah.
So Hilton Head, and then I'm going to Hilton Head, but to Savannah.
Yeah.
And that restaurant, it's off the river, right?
It's literally like a 5-minute walk from my hotel. It's on the river. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, that's badass. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be cool. Yeah. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and my hotel has a rooftop bar too. So
what? Yeah. Anyway, I haven't seen pictures of where we're staying in Hilton Head, but I'm sure it'll be pretty cool. It's
Hilton Head. Yeah, it's beautiful. So.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And Savannah, walking along the river is really nice too. Well, I was just there like last month.
Oh yeah.
I sent you pictures of me in Savannah, me and my kid in Savannah.
That's right. Okay. I'm sure it's nice in September, like that time of year, like mid-September. It's nice and crisp.
I love Savannah.
The air off of there, yeah.
I don't know. It was gnarly hot, and that was June.
Was it?
Georgia can be as brutal as Florida. So,
Gross.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to it. It'll be a fun trip. I'm sure I'll get in like 1 or 2 trips before that, but it's just nice to get out of Denver. I'm sure like I'll go back to Trestle a couple times. It's so damn hot here. I've poopy pants about the hot weather here. So I'll probably buzz up to Winter Park for a couple nights, I'm sure, here or there. So yeah, cool mountain air. Anyway,
Okay, let's talk about what's vexing me this week.
yeah. Since what is it this week? 'Cause I feel like you could like go on we could do like a content calendar for this for like 2 years easily.
Yeah, no, that's why we added it into the podcast.
No
So
question.
what's vexing me this week is people.
In what context?
I mean, period. Particularly, it's the absolute lack of situational awareness. Like, for example, you're walking down a supermarket aisle and it's not a very wide aisle, and you stop in such a spot where you and your car are blocking the aisle.
Yeah, that annoys me. Or they're walking down like the left-hand side.
Yeah, or like there's a group of 4 or 5 of you on the sidewalk and you're walking next to each other and blocking the entire sidewalk. And not only are you doing that, but you're going as slow as you possibly can go. Like, huh? Or this happened to me this week. I'm at Target and I'm doing a return. No, I'm doing a pickup. Correct myself. I'm doing a pickup. And there's a lady in front of me and a lady in front of her. And the lady in front of her is being served by the person behind the counter. Everything's fine, hunky-dory, 100%. She gets what she needs. Now, there's a line of maybe 4 of us. And instead of like moving out of the way to put all of her shit back in her purse and check her phone for messages and redo her makeup and whatever the fuck else she was doing at the register, she stands there and for a good 4 minutes rearranging her purse and her life while the rest of us are waiting. I'm just like, ooh, like all you have to do was shuffle 2 steps to the empty register next to it so that the girl in front of me could get served by the very nice employee of Target. But no, you got to stand there and rearrange your whole life while the rest of us are just dawdling, waiting for you to be done. Like, that's
Nobody
what I'm
said
talking
anything?
about. No, listen, I have this saying that I say to my husband all the time. Well, not all the time, but I say it to my husband. Like, if something comes up and somebody needs to be spoken to, I say, you don't want me to handle this, which means it's diplomacy, right? It's like, if I handle this, it's probably not going to be pretty. And maybe this situation requires pretty. And it's not coming from me today because I'm already annoyed. So when I say you don't want me to handle this, he's like, okay, got it. And he'll take care of it. Versus sometimes I'm like, you don't want me to handle this. And he goes, nope, I do. Which means, okay. So in those instances, it is a lot better for me just to not say anything because I don't really have an edit button, you know?
That would annoy me, especially because I used to work in retail. So like that would, I would remember something like that happening at the store that I worked at. But when people it's all self-interest, right? Like nobody cares about
100%.
anybody else. Maybe she didn't know that there are people behind her.
So I'm talking about situational
That's the
awareness.
whole issue.
Situational.
Yeah.
Like another time I had gone in there and I was picking something up or doing return, same desk. And I stood there for like 3 or 4 minutes and nobody came up to me. And I could hear 2 people just shooting the shit in the back. So I stood there and I was like, I'll give them a couple more minutes. And if they don't come out, then I will, say something. And so finally one lady comes out and she's like, oh, she'll be right with you. And walked off in the total opposite direction. Instead of going to the girl in the back and being like, hey, you've got someone at the register. She goes, she'll be right with you, and strolled off into the store. Like,
wow, that's ballsy.
Yeah. So when I say people.
Gotcha.
Because I think that I'm like really, like I'm aware of like, I don't want to get in anybody's way. I don't want to hold anybody up. I'm never late because I just think it's disrespectful. I'm never late. If I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be there. I hardly ever cancel. Like that's just how I am. I don't block the aisle. I try and be as small as possible. I always put my cart back, which we talked about the other day. I just try and be considerate around people around me, you know?
Yeah, me too. I've learned like if I'm going to be, I don't know, I guess sometimes annoyed by other people doing that, I feel like I should pull my end of the rope as well and just not be an asshole. Stay out of the way. I went to Starbucks this morning, like don't finish sending the email after the barista hands me my coffee. Just drive off through the drive-through, right? Just keep the line going. Stuff like that. I see people doing that sometimes. Just fucking drives me batty. So anyway, yeah, just pull your end of the rope.
Yes.
Contribute.
Thank you. So when I say people, I mean, I could give you, I don't know, 12 iterations of people, but that is today's situational awareness or lack of. Now, I mean,
Just be better.
yeah, just don't. How about that? How about you just don't? Anywho, that's what's vexing me this week. And you know what? I'm not going to say this because I don't know if I said this last week or not. I don't think that any of the things that I've mentioned about what vexes me, that I don't think they're completely out of the ordinary. And I would bet that most people get irritated by the same things I get irritated by. Maybe not to the level, because my patience level just doesn't really exist. But I bet you that these are the same kind of things that would irritate other people on the right day.
I'm sure. Yeah. Whether you're at like an airport, well, especially in an airport, because people got shit to do, places to go. I feel like it comes out there.
Oh my
Airport
God.
DMVs.
Talking of which, did you see the lines? It was Atlanta Airport, and I think it was all
Ooh.
over the country, but I just saw the line at Atlanta Airport because of Delta.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
line, oh my God.
I bet it was gross.
People were literally stuck at the airport for 4 days.
Oh, jeez. I saw something at DIA, but Atlanta, oh man, that would be like there, like O'Hare or like LAX. Like, oh, how
I mean,
brutal would that
honestly,
be?
Atlanta Airport, I'm quite convinced that Satan himself came down and created that place. No offense to people who live in Atlanta. It's not Atlanta I'm complaining about. It's the airport. It is. I would literally do anything to avoid stopping in Atlanta Airport, like anything. That place is literally hell on earth. And then when I saw that line, I was like, ooh. I mean, it was crazy, crazy,
Hmm.
crazy. But yeah, I agree. I think airports, like anything like that, can bring out the worst in people for sure. Especially if it's like you're delayed or cancelled or bad weather or whatever. It's kind of
Yeah.
terrible. Anywho, moving on, let's talk about what we're talking about today, which is keeping your content fresh and why updating your old posts can actually enhance your SEO. That's the topic of the day.
So
I guess my question to you, Mr. Data, is like, why? Why can't you just leave it the way it is and just make a whole new page on something very similar?
it's important to update it because eventually your competitors are going to compete for that content, like in your local area. So, like dispensary, I don't know, 6 blocks away, for example, they're competing for your customers in that local area, and they're going to be putting up content, and perhaps most likely you guys will be competing over content. So if they start to rank higher for a piece of, let's just say, a blog post, and they start to take your traffic, it's important to know how to rebound from that. So you don't want to just set and forget it. As easy as that is, you do not want to just set and forget it.
Which that totally makes sense. So when we talk about updating content, we're not just talking about like the actual like verbiage on the page, right? You're talking about, say, for example, you're linking to an external site, an external link, and you wrote the piece of content like 2 years ago, say, for example. And at the time, there was a fairly new article that you linked to that somebody else had written somewhere else. What you're saying is like, you don't just have to effectively like rewrite or edit the content on your page, but you can put fresher links in there that are perhaps more topical, or in terms of date that they're newer, or like internal linking. If since you created that post, you've now created other pages that you could internally link to, like that would be an example of updating it. Or could you like update like a title tag or something like that? Or would
Oh
you
yeah,
not?
for sure. So like, for example, if you read on, if you check Search Console, let's say you just check Search Console, let's just say every Friday morning or something, like you block out some time and you read that the click-through rate is not what it should be. So typically it's like 3%. Let's just say it fell down to like 2%, just a hell of a drop. You need to identify the page, and then on the page, it could be the title tag or it could be the meta description. So then you can test it from there. I'm going to change the title tag to this, and then I'm going to change the meta description to this, and then keep an eye on that page and that URL and see if it went up or if it went down. And if it went down, you can then change the meta description or the title, basically A/B test it and see what the culprit is. So you can change like the keywords. Do you put those specific keywords in the front of the title tag? Do you put them in the middle? Do you put them in the end? And just see what Google likes. Like Google the specific keyword that you're trying to rank for, like just say purple weed, because we always give that example. Just Google like the keyword at the beginning of the title tag, the middle, at the end. The answers are all on Google. So just do a little bit of research and then revise your title tag, make it live, and then keep track of that. So you'll need a spreadsheet to keep track of the title tags that you've used in the past and then what you're using now, and then you can have ideas moving forward. But keep an eye on that click-through rate. If that page has dropped, that could be it.
So let's say you have a page on, I don't know, indica versus sativa, right, that you wrote 2 years ago. And you have now identified that your competitor is outranking you for that page and stealing some of your traffic. Would you immediately do like the A/B testing on what you just talked about, or would you like update the whole page? Like, what's the best way of handling that?
I would look at the A/B testing. I would look at who is now taking that traffic. Find the dispensary that is taking that traffic. Look at what they're doing. Look at their title tag. Look at their meta description. Look at the content on that page. What keywords are they targeting? So plug that into SEMrush. Do an exact URL inspection of it, and then find the keywords that are in that piece of content. What I would do, I would add in more internal links, and then I would add more external links as well. So up the link game on that thing and get more backlinks to point there. And I would put in more content as well. So I would do all that at once. Like I wouldn't wait just to, oh, this might work, this might not work. I would add in internal links. And if you have a content calendar, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to add in internal links. And as your website grows, and if your website hierarchy and structure is correct, it makes it so it's like a fucking cheat, pardon my language, it's like a fucking cheat code, adding internal links, then add in external links, and then get some backlinks to point there. And that'll probably do the trick.
So when you do that, Google's like, oh, they've refreshed, for want of a better word, this page. Like, these are new links, you know, there's some new keywords in here. Like, and so because you were already ranking for that, does that mean that you'll start ranking quicker?
Probably, depending on who your competitors are. You know, of course, like your domain authority. Have you been regularly updating your website SEO? Have you been doing that with a regular cadence? If you have, then yes, it should pop pretty quick. And what you can do also is I would also resubmit that sitemap, and I would even go further as taking the individual URL and requesting a index on Google through Google Search Console. You can request individual URL indexing, and I would do that as well, especially if that's like a main page of like how you're getting content, which you can find through Search Console. And if you have somebody else trying to dismantle you, I mean, I'd go A to Z through that.
Yeah, that definitely,
because that's going to happen. Like if you're performing 100%. That high in, or like super high in, like in your markets, like your locations, you're going to have a target on your back. So you should have these oh shit handles ready to go.
You also want that target on your back, because it means you're doing something right.
Exactly. And you can kind of turn into the bully at the poker table too, because once you recover from that, your domain authority should increase and the propensity of that happening should decrease.
Yeah, that does make sense. And then whatever traffic that your competitor had initially stolen from you, you'll get back. And
then you can start to steal theirs, which you already should be if they're chasing you. So that took a war game, you're winning, but you can also start to take theirs. And if you have a higher domain authority, it should be a shorter process.
Yeah, because you should already be very aware of each other and checking on what each other's doing all the time anyway. I mean, that's part of, you know, what you do once you've identified your main competitors anyway.
Right.
So.
Yep, exactly.
So outside of something like that, where like you've paid attention and noticed that this particular keyword or this particular traffic has been stolen by a competitor, what else can you do to like figure out what content you should update? I mean, is it as simple as like you have a content calendar and you know you wrote this piece a year ago, so you definitely need to touch it again, so it goes by date of like when you published it? Or is there like other factors that come into play?
Yeah, I would do that. I think with the content calendar, you know what pages and topics and subsequent keywords are going up when. So at a certain date, a certain time, these keywords are going up. So then that means old content from like 6 months ago or a year ago, you can revamp them because of internal linking. So that's an easy win. So would I keep a process? I mean, I would. I mean, yeah, like we have them internally for every couple of months, just revamp quote old content with links. Mm-hmm. Disavow any backlinks like that, check external links, which is why audits are so important. They should be run at least a couple times a week. Yeah, it can be, it is time intensive, but it's worth it in the long run because you'll be wildly profitable, more profitable by keeping an eye on everything, making sure it's performing at the highest it can versus missing opportunities. And then eventually your competitor's taking it.
So let's say your highest performing page, right? Whatever it might be, purple haze or wedding strain or whatever it is, right? It's your highest performing page. It's ranked number one on, the SERP, but it's banging. And you published it a year ago. You kind of haven't touched it since then, but it is outperforming everything else. Would you touch that page or no?
Yes, I would see where it is before I touched it. And then I would add in internal links where I can, maybe like of like a wedding cake strain, like the lineage, like where it came from. Let's see, indica or sativa, or it's a hybrid strain. And then ideally you have content around those topics, which makes for easy internal linking, maybe qualifying conditions. So just find contextual topics to link to if it's been 1 year, and then see how that reacts. See how Google takes those optimizations. And if it doesn't like it, you can just pull it off the page.
And
I wouldn't
then
mess with the
you
click-through
set it back
rate.
to where- Okay.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mess with the click-through rate or meta description if it's pretty good already. I would just start with the internal links.
Yeah, just update those or any more relevant articles that back up what you're saying, or
Yeah, internal or external links is.
or maybe you have a new product that is of that strain or of that whatever it is that your page is on type thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Because whilst if you don't touch it, it might not remain your best performing page because someone could come along and grab the traffic.
Right. It could start to pull out your pillars, so to speak.
Yeah.
So,
and also, like, outside of the fact that you're doing this for selfish reasons, I don't mean it like that, but like you're doing it because you want to make sure that you're ranking, you're ranking high, and obviously that your page is performing for you. But like outside of that, it's also great for your visitors to your site, your customers, your readers, because the information that they get is now it's up to date, right? So, they're like, oh, there's a link to this. And then they click on it and it's an article that was written like, I don't know, a couple years ago. And some of the information in the article isn't accurate anymore because in this industry, things change all the time. We were literally just talking about Ohio earlier offline. Things change all the time. So if a reader comes onto your page and they think that your content is interesting to them, and then they click on a link and they see that A, it was written 2 years ago, and B, I don't know, recreational marijuana is now legal in Ohio, but this article says it's not, or that it's going to vote, or whatever it is. You kind of lose a little bit of the authenticity that you've built up with your client for providing them with like trustworthy information or links.
Yeah.
So I think just by updating that content in terms of what you've written, physically your content on the page, but also the links that you've chosen internally and externally, you're maintaining that trustworthiness, and they're going to come back to your site and or your dispensary time and time again because you have that trust relationship with them.
And Google knows if it's outdated content, outdated news articles. I mean, so that's a poor experience. So yeah, that is very important.
Yeah, I definitely think like having trust with your people. Nobody wants to read something and go, oh, well, this isn't even accurate anymore. Like 2 years ago it might have been, but it's not now.
Right.
What else? What else do we need to talk about? Because this is definitely more of your realm, because I feel like it's a lot of data-driven stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very data-driven. It is, audits, content calendars, just basically just having your finger on the pulse and knowing your website, which is good because like once you learn the ins and outs of your website, this stuff gets way easier. It's kind of overwhelming at first, and then you look at your tools like Search Console and Google Analytics and Tag Manager, and well, probably not Tag Manager in this context, but like SEMrush and whatever project management platform you use. It's kind of overwhelming. And then once you get, it's just like anything else, it'll take a couple of weeks, and then you get used to it. And then you start like that first page that you quote save or like revamp and it works. You're like, oh shit, okay, wow, that's how this works. Okay. And then you just learn that iterative process of you learn what to spot, what to look for, who your competitors are, what competitors are even worth spending time on. If they're like targeting you, like you learn all that, and that, it just comes with time. But I'd say using the right tools. So analytics, Google Analytics and Search Console. It's a really good place to start, and then just keeping an eye on it. And of course, running internal audits. That's key. Run that at least twice a week. And then just keep an eye on everything and make changes as needed.
I definitely think the better that you know your website and the metrics, the more familiar that you are with it, the easier it is for you to spot when you need to make an update to a page. Equally, the more you know your competition and the more familiar you are with their metrics that you can see on SEMrush, the easier it's going to be for you to spot when you need to do something. And ideally, you will have already done it before you get to that point. But it's about familiarity. It's about understanding how your website performs, how the pages perform, how your content performs. And I think if you know that inside out, it almost comes naturally because you'll be able to understand the patterns.
You'll have like a mental wireframe of the website. It'd be like me building my mountain bike and then going down like a really aggressive, like a double black or something, like a pretty aggressive trail. And then hearing this weird noise coming from the back, like, wait a minute, I changed out a new derailleur. That's what it is. Okay, let me just pull out a 5mm Allen wrench and just knock this out real quick. And then it takes me like 5 seconds. I'll just keep going.
Yeah, because you know how that bike is supposed to perform and how it's supposed to sound and how it's supposed to feel. If I got on that bike, I wouldn't know. I would have no idea that it wasn't okay.
Right. Plus, I built it. I built the fucking thing. So it's like, I know that thing top to bottom, front to back. So I know exactly where that noise is coming from.
Yeah.
And the tool that it takes to fix it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's, when you first take on a new client, you don't have that familiarity. And I think, unless of course you build their site from scratch, but the more time that we spend working on a client's site and providing content and all the other things that we do, that's when that familiarity comes in. And also keeping an eye on their competition that we do regularly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You get that mental wireframe is like so important because you can just spot things just like right away.
Yeah. I think it's like, you ever driven somewhere and then you're like, I have no idea how I drove here.
Yeah. Like, I don't know the address. Like I know exactly how to get here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly it. It just becomes, it's like, I remember learning to drive, and obviously in England, most cars are stick shift. So I remember learning to drive and someone saying to me, oh, when you've been driving for a while, you won't even think about what gears you need to switch to or pushing your clutch pedal in, blah, blah, blah. And I remember at the time thinking, there's no way that that's ever going to happen. And then it just happens, you're just so familiar with it. You know how the car drives, how it should feel.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has to go through that process, just like you went through that process. So yeah, I think it's very similar in that. It's almost like muscle memory. You just recognize the patterns of your site and the data, and it's really easy to spot something that's out of sync.
And it gets, again, just like anything else, it gets easier. Like you get one drop in traffic, and you're like, oh, wait, no, I know where that's going from. Okay, it's this competitor. Then you keep an eye on that competitor, and then you can like preemptively plan if they're going to try and, to do something to you. To your website, I mean.
Yeah.
It just gets easier. So it's a pain in the ass. It is. It takes a lot of time, but once you're there, it gets easier.
True that. All right. Well, I feel like we've covered most of the topic, unless there's anything that I've missed, but I don't think so.
No, that's it.
All right. Well, we will wrap up this episode of our podcast for this week. Don't forget, you can comment, like, subscribe, review, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Any suggestions, comments, questions? We take them all. And we will be back with a whole new episode in a week from now.
Peace.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found value in the insight and the tips we shared. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling super generous, we would love it if you left us a review. If there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead and find us on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll see you next time.